Well, hello everyone. It is Friday, the 14th of July, 2023. I am Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This is your status chat. And today I have one article to present to you, and we'll get to it right now. If you like this content, please go to CallDelToSell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you when each Friday's blog has been uploaded. Thank you. Well, today's story will come from Realtor.com. I will point this out that realtors in general no longer own Realtor.com. It is owned by a company called Move. And so we'll mention this. Now, I'm sure that Move being associated with real estate will in fact have some realtor members in it, but Realtor.com is not a National Association of Realtors website. Well, here we are, Realtor.com as promised, by Claire Trapasso. I hope I said her name correctly. Dateline yesterday. Now here we have our little hero image that we like to throw up there. And I see a little subliminal messaging here. Here we have a realtor sign, a real estate sales sign. John T. Ford. I'm just glad that's not me there. John T. Ford out in front of a house where we see probably a mother, a woman with a small child leaving their home with a for sale sign in front. Now, what we have going on here, we'll scroll this up. This is trends. Foreclosures continue to surge with more homeowners now in danger of losing their properties. We'll read a little bit of this, but not everything. More Americans are in danger of losing their homes as the number of foreclosure filings continues to surge. In the first half of the year, foreclosure shot up 15%, near pre-COVID-19 levels, according to the real estate data provider Adam. Mid-year 2023 foreclosure market report. Nearly 186,000 properties across the country received foreclosure filings during that period. Now, I will point out something here. It says nearing pre-COVID-19 levels. So what does that tell you? It says that we're still below, even though it tells us that a surge, we're still below the pandemic level. And I'll get to that in commentary later. Now, if we get down, let me scroll down till I find it. Here we go. However, homeowners unable to pay their mortgages are having their properties repossessed. Lenders did foreclose on 22,000 properties from January to June. That's up 9% from last year, but still 40% below the same periods in 2020. Then we go through. I want to point out where it says this is happening, in which states are foreclosures rising the most. Foreclosures rose the most in Maryland, where they doubled compared to a year ago. They were up 99% in Oregon, 95% in Alaska, 83% in West Virginia, 72% in Arkansas. However, the next paragraph, the state with the highest foreclosure rate was Illinois. The state that had the highest percentage of homes with foreclosure filings at 0.25%. Now I want you to notice, this is 1/4%. Illinois was followed by, Illinois, followed by New Jersey at 0.24, Maryland at 0.23, Delaware at 0.23, and Ohio at 0.20. Rounding out the top 10 were South Carolina, Florida, Nevada, Indiana, and Connecticut. I think that's all we need to read in this story. So why do I bring this to you? Because I want you to understand what's causing this, where this is, and I want you to pay close attention. You'll notice that the clickbait, they call it, that high interest of foreclosures are rising, they're spiking. But what were the actual levels? They still were below pre-pandemic normals. So yes, they're coming up, they're spiking, they're coming up, but they're nowhere where they needed to be under a normal, healthy market. And you just understand this one thing. anytime you bang the top out of something, the odds are very close it's going to come back down. And if you go down artificially on something very, very low, there's an odd that it's going to go back up. It's like a pendulum swinging from one side to another. When it goes to one extreme, it has to come back toward the other. During the pandemic, when the government involved itself, first killing the economy, and then secondly, then funding itself with trillions of dollars so that they could be a hero, they delayed foreclosures that would normally be happening in our world had the government not gotten involved with the flu virus that went around. So that's just what it is. We've simply delayed foreclosing on houses that would have probably been in the foreclosure market already. We've just held them off. So common sense will tell you you're going to see a spike, a bounce in those as they try to get back to their normal rate they should be. And that's where we're going to go. So if in the next 60 to 90 days you hear more about foreclosure spiking or whatever, realize that we are way below where we would normally be if we didn't have governmental interference. And we do know this, that since we had politics invade itself into banking industry yet again, just like it did about 2003 through 2008, we see that we've had some bank foreclosures type thing, having trouble with their foreclosures and their loans that were bad loans and their lending problems and their other initiatives that weren't based upon sound economic policy. We've seen some banks kind of start getting back up in the spotlight. So if you happen to be someone in a foreclosure type situation, I would not expect you to get much grace since the end of the modifications. The application date was May 31st of this year. So you're not going to get the deferment of the payments you missed to the tail end of your loan, which is actually a very costly thing to do because you're rotating that one payment even further out there in the future that's going to have a reckoning. But the banks, being under heightened scrutiny, are very likely to foreclose and to foreclose fairly quickly and to go after that home because we have a shortage of supply. So they're going to want to get that out there. Now, if they were to believe, if the banking industry were to believe that they were going to have a rash of foreclosures, they might want to get theirs out there and sold before the other people, before the competition, while we still have relatively low supply. So if you're in danger of foreclosure, I would not expect a lot of sympathy coming from your institution that holds a note. I think that they themselves are under scrutiny and they will look to prove that they are not wasting time and money with bad fiscal policy at their bank. So expect to lose the home. Now, this is different than where we were before in many, many cases. Now, not all cases, but some cases, many cases, we'll find out that because of that exploding growth, those at the top end of this, at the beginning of foreclosure, as we just try to reset normal to normal, they're likely to actually sell their home and still come out with a little bit of money ahead. Okay, because the value is still, it just jumped up here in this area. We were to the 40s or so. My personal property was over 50% in a 4-year assessment. And so that's a huge amount of gain that when it is sold, they may walk away with something. It's not going to be a home, but it's going to be a little bit of something. So that isn't as terrible as it could be, but yet it's still likely to happen. So where are we thinking the future holds? Well, in 60, maybe 90 days, we might see a spike. But I reiterate, if I haven't already said it before, I'll say it now. We were lower than we were before the pandemic. So we are yet to reset to a normal foreclosure rate. So if we come past that a little bit, we're going to not panic, right? There's no reason to panic. And at a quarter of a point to 0.33% of 1 point, that's not a lot of homes gonna be foreclosed on. So if you have the urge, it's time to move. it's time to get this done, because this is not really as clickbaitery as it sounds. It's just the market fixing itself after the government interference with forbearance. That's going away. Those people that didn't get it done are just going to be out of luck. So we hope you hold on to your home. And if you want to sell your home, it would probably be better for you to sell it of your own free will and accord than to have the bank sell it for you and send whatever proceeds are left over after they get done. Their requirement is to try to fulfill the debt, not necessarily to make sure that you have some spending money if your home is taken away and sold. So let's get to our numbers and wrap this show up. Hello, I'm Dale Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, CallDelToSell. That's one L in Del, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Last week, 7th of July, Friday, 7th of July, we had 17,568 opportunities in the Real Scout system. That increased over the previous period. We had 4194 in the under contracts still showing. The ratio between those dropped another percentage point to 24%. And we have for this week, 7/14/23, we have 18,098 in the opportunities. That is a further increase over the previous. 4194, the exact same number in the under contract still showing. What are the odds of that? And the integer ratio dropped another percentage point to 23%. So if in fact we see a resetting of normal on the foreclosure rate, realize that we're still below where we were before the pandemic started. It's going to go probably back to normal. The mean value theorem says it will return to a normal. It'll gravitate back to the normal, and that's where we expect it to be. What are we going to do, you and I? Well, we're not going to panic and think that the world is coming to an end. Yes, it can happen in a strong economy, such as the one in Florida. It was in the top 10, was it not, according to the report? If you read that, you'll see that. But we also see it in some of the weaker economies. And so you say, well, that's kind of counterintuitive. If it can happen in the strong economies, why is it happening in the weak? I certainly understand the weak, and I certainly understand a little bit to some extent the strong economies, because it was that boom of influx of people leaving where they were to come to a new state like Tennessee or Texas or Florida. But those people moving in have a great deal of responsibility as far as jacking that price way on up, because these were outliers to a normal situation. We would not normally have that much immigration into our states from these other states, and now that they're here, they jumped the prices up. So it's not hard to understand that perhaps if someone sold their old ranch style home, okay, and got a boatload of money with it, wheelbarrows full, and they thought, well, we're going to move to Tennessee because houses are cheap there, and they came in and they bought their house and they spent some money and they enjoyed themselves with the windfall they had when they sold their old property. A lot of these people are finding they got to go back to work, and that's helping our economy in a lot of ways, but it's money that was there in their economy that was finite. And so as that plays out, it's going to have an effect. Now, they have a house payment if they relocated, if they didn't pay cash for it, and now they have to go back to work. So the booming economy that hits because all of that economic activity, all that printing of money has had an inflationary effect, and the inflationary effect causes the price of stuff, not just homes, because homes are built with stuff, they're filled with stuff, but it also caused everything else. Insurance has gone way up. Cars are going up. Used cars in particular going way up. We have all of these expenses that are going up, and now the cost of living is adjusting upwards. So don't be alarmed. Be prepared.